Hi, I'm Jack, and this is my ex-British Gas Caddy Maxi camper conversion. First of all, we had to strip out all of the British Gas shelving from the back and take off all the panels to get down to the bare van. We also removed the ceiling lining and the bulkhead, as at a later date the bulkhead was going to be carpeted and the roof lining was also going to be insulated underneath and then carpeted. Next up was the sound deadening. So to start off with, I cleaned the whole van, all the panels, gave them a good dry off after, and then got to work with the sound deadening. This was probably one of the longer jobs. You actually only need 60% coverage on each panel to really have enough of an effect, and some of the panels did already have coverage on. I wasn't sure whether to go over the top of them at first, which as you can see I did, and then on this one I decided to go around just so I didn't use up as much sound deadening, and I actually ended up using a lot more than I thought I would. The floor still hasn't been done, but I've spoken to someone who converts campers as a job, and they've given me advice on something else to use for the floor. Now that the sound deadening was all done, it was time for insulation. We used a few different types of insulation during the conversion, and the first of that was this black foam. So it's just an adhesive foam, peel the back off, and it's a nice first barrier of insulation. Our second type of insulation used was sheep's wool. Now this is an alternative to the recycled bottle insulation. It was very messy, however we seem to find it very easy to use. It's very easy to get into all the little gaps, really does pack down nicely. Obviously you don't want to squash it down too much and take all the air out of it, but all in all it was easy to use and fairly cheap. The next thing I did was go along all the little holes and the holes that had been filled in with the sheep's wool and just cap them off with a bit of insulation tape. This just stops any moisture, any damp getting into the holes. Next up was our final layer of insulation. This was just an aluminium bubble wrap that we spray glued onto the panels and then taped around the edge with our aluminium foil tape again, just to seal it all off. Give us a really good vapour barrier and hopefully it'll keep me warm in the winter. I then made myself a little door opening for the back doors from the inside, as they don't actually have a handle on the inside. All I did was run a couple of cable ties onto the door latch and then up to a lanyard that pops out from the panel. And as you can see here, you can now open the rear doors from the inside. I then finished off the ceiling by spray gluing and sticking my sheep's wool to that. This was a fun job. As I say, the sheep's wool very messy, so looking up at it as it's dropping in your eyes is not ideal. If you're doing this, I would recommend putting some safety glasses on if you've got any, because I spent the night getting sheep's wool out of my eyes. I then put the aluminium foil bubble wrap on the ceiling panels and then fitted those back up. That's also quite an annoying job, and we found later on when we put the carpet on, the normal clips that you have, they're a bit tough to get in, so I'm going to get myself some extended ones and hopefully they'll be a bit easier. Then moved on to carpeting some of the panels, and they were all squared away. It started out as one of my favourite jobs. Doing these little panels I found quite enjoyable, quite easy actually, and get them quite nice and tidy, and it's rewarding. However, moving on to the bodywork of the van, some of the pillars and some of the wheel arches, for instance, are very awkward things to do. Frustrated me a little bit, so I didn't get much footage of those because I wanted to take my time on them, make sure I got them right. Obviously, for me, the carpeting is top layer, so it's what's on show, so I wanted to get it right. Next up, we took some 6mm ply and made some frames for the rear windows. This was a bit of a tricky one, definitely tricky to carpet, but we wanted to make some frames to put some blinds in, and I feel they just capped the van off in its own little way. We then moved on to making a bed for the van. We used a lot of 2x1 and sort of copied a few ideas we'd seen online of a pull-out finger bed, and this is what we came up with. A lot of this is down to my dad, very handy with stuff like this, so I just struggled on my own, put it that way, but this is what we came up with. And I feel all in all, nice little bed, doesn't take up too much room, and we even measured up the toilet and it fits perfectly underneath. I'd say we've done a pretty good job so far with the conversion. Next up on our conversion, we'll be finishing off the bed, finishing a few panels that still need to go in, and sorting out cupboards and a kitchen. Thanks for watching, guys. If you did enjoy this, hit that subscribe button, it really does help me out, and you'll know straight away then when part 2 of this conversion is uploaded. If you've got any queries, drop a comment down below and I'll try my best to help you guys out.